It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now for my favorite part of the show, wherein I guess what's in Tim's background. And I'm going to say, Tim, you've got sitting right behind you is a Texas Democrat, because you're a safe haven. Oh, wait a minute, you're not in Illinois. You'd send him back, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might. If it was Jasmine Crockett, I would probably tease her for a little bit before.
Did you hear that Jasmine Crockett's? I hate them when the employees turn on their employer. I mean, it happened to Kamala Harris. Apparently, she's a bad boss, but that's another story. Let's see what's in your background.
Is that a surprise?
Yeah, really, really.
Well, okay. Yeah. This one might be a little too subtle, and it's from the Wayback Machine.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Peabody.
But here I am in the middle of J.B. Pritzker's redistricted bathroom.
Oh, well, I was close, right. Remember the bathroom? Boy,
yep.
Oh boy. Yeah, it needs a little work. Absolutely needs a little work there. Yeah,
yeah, but then the taxes would go up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fathom that. I mean, Newsom and Hochul and Pritzker, they're in gerrymandered states. I've seen the breakdown too. Texas is not going to be as gerrymandered as those states are. Well, maybe one of them it'll be a little bit more, but it's just.
I love the threat. I mean, it really cracks me up. Well, if you're going to do that in Texas, we'll do that here in California. I don't think you can. I think any line you move is going to end up with more Republican seats. I mean, it is already gerrymandered to perfection.
Karl Rove actually had a decent op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about this, and he did go into the statistics about the other states and how. I mean, and then he compared it to one of the circles or ditches in Dante's Inferno, because where the hypocrites go, because it's just. I mean. You roll your eyes up. The Democrats have no shame. How does Pritzker even say that? Well, they have challenged him on it, and he said, "Oh no, ours went through a fair process." Oh, okay, yeah. Whatever.
Well, if you remember though that the Voting Rights Act actually required a form of gerrymandering to occur.
Right.
So it's no, we're not gerrymandering. We're just complying with the law.
Yeah. When that. And isn't that gonna? I read somewhere, only a little tease on it. I haven't read the arguments yet on it, but that could be coming up before the court shortly. So they might undo that, like they did affirmative action.
Yeah,
because it's racist. It's already racist. It's built in. So it's got to change.
Well, no, it's good racist.
Of course,
there's good racist and bad racist.
Bad racist is when. The minorities start voting for Trump, like they did in the last election. So
my favorite gerrymandered district in Chicago is Luis Gutierrez district, where they actually had to draw a thin line to connect the Puerto Ricans with the Mexicans. And the reason being, well, they kind of sound the same when they talk.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Of course, and there's a reason why the Mexicans don't live near the Puerto Ricans.
Well, right, people don't understand that those are not,
culturally
the worst form of racism is what. They're all the same. Well, all Spanish-speaking people aren't the same. Remember.
Well, it's not even Spanish speaking, because they lump Brazil and the Dominican Republic in with. And Haiti and with the Hispanics.
Yeah, no, those are all the same kind of people.
The language kind of sounds the same.
Yeah, no, let's not distinguish between your Castilians and your what have yous. Yeah, no, that happens all the time. Remember how remember the Trayvon Martin case, where it was okay to go after the guy because he was a white Hispanic.
Well,
And
that was actually interesting because it occurred to me that there's obviously some Soros Foundation sifting through police records, looking for something that they can capitalize on and start and engage all their protesters. So when they found out that a George Zimmerman from a gated community shot a black youth, they
thought he was an
assumed
Orthodox Jew. Yeah. Oh
exactly,
no,
exactly.
Jorge.
And then,
Yeah. The Z stands for Zorro, not Zimmerman.
so
Oh
that
man.
yeah, so I mean they had to run with it. They already set it up. They
Yeah.
got the protest started. They couldn't go back.
Had the commitment. Had the commitment. It's yeah. What other famous names are there that? Oh no, I thought that guy was. Well, that happens a lot. Among people with Jewish geography. Oh, I thought that. Well, Adam Sandler did the whole Hanukkah song about you'd think that guy would be Jewish, wouldn't be. Now I can't think of any names.
O.J. Simpson, not a Jew,
Not a
but you
Jew.
know who is Hall of Famer Rod Carew.
Well, actually, you got the song. Rod Carew married a Jew, I believe, and he loves,
Okay.
the Jewish people, but I don't think he ever converted.
But it
And
rhymes. It
oh
rhymes
yeah,
with Jew.
no, it's great. Now you're gonna get me. Now you're gonna get me going on. I've seen
Some people think that Ebenezer Scrooge is, but he's not. But you know who is? All three Stooges.
Right. Oh,
Neil Diamond actually did a version of that song.
He did it. Well, now we're getting into deep cuts here. I don't even know why.
And it's not even the holidays.
And I feel uncomfortable that you, Tim, know this very Jewish song. And I didn't even know that Neil Diamond did a version. What did his include?
It's the same. It's the same song. It just he
just did a cover.
He just sings it word for word, and it's hilarious because
right,
because he does it in perfect Neil Diamond fashion.
Yeah. No, it's well. All right, now you got me on Adam Sandler. I've seen 2 golf movies, and yeah, Rod Carew, not a Jew, exactly. So I've seen 2 golf movies in the last week or so. One was the Happy Gilmore 2, and the other was I think it's Apple TV, Owen Wilson, 1 volume series at 10 episodes called Stick. And I'm trying to think which was more inane. They both had their, fair complement of real golfers in there. Jim Nance and Trevor Immelman should, be up for supporting actors playing themselves, because they did so much play-by-play in this. I mean, you like it when you see, somebody dropping in for a second or so. We may as well have had CBS commercials on there. But it was, well, I'm not going to go into the details. It was fun. You know what was in that? Timothy Oliphant was playing a relative heavy in it, and he's always
he's not
hero.
Playing a sheriff.
Well, yeah, he's always playing the sheriff, and he's great. And this time he's like kind of the bad guy. It was just, well, like you could predict from the first scene what couples were going to get back together, what were, who was going to stay apart. I mean, the premise, of course, I'll accept, go with the willing suspension of disbelief that a 17-year-old skinny kid could hit a ball 320 yards and hit a shed, pinpoint it from 320 yards away. I'll go with that. But all right, I have one question about this. If any of you ever watch this, it's the kid's father had gone away like 3 years earlier after the kid had bombed out in a tournament. Okay. All of a sudden, the father shows up when the kid is in a big tournament, in a professional tournament. And the kid immediately embraces him after hating him and makes him his caddy instead of Owen Wilson. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm willing to believe that you can, hit a 9-iron 195 yards and bend it around trees and land it in a hole. I can believe that, but I'm not going to believe that your father, who you've been
really
desecrating.
I'm not watching the movie, but
yeah, but you've been doing it the whole movie, and he just shows up and it's, oh, Dad, just be my caddy right now and wreck my game. But
and let me order you around. Golf cart? Oh, no, 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 no. We're not renting a golf cart, Pops.
I mean, that would have been better. That would have been better. Anyway, all right, let's turn to more ridiculous stuff. So Sydney Sweeney is still in the news. How does that? And I don't know if you've gone online. This Oklahoma University sorority, all those Southern belles, they're all doing dance numbers, celebrating good genes. And I can't believe this one has legs, and nice legs it does have.
Well, yeah, I don't think your eyes ever went down to the legs there, Bruce.
Right.
I think they were frozed.
But I'm just dumbfounded that this story continues for a couple of weeks. It's got to be petering out, and like Woody Allen and Banana saying, "Let's try this again in February." And we've moved on to other things like Megyn Kelly having a cat fight with Beyonce because Beyonce was dressed up in some jeans outfit a while back. And then Megyn Kelly says there's nothing natural about Beyonce. Everything from her image to her fame to her success to her look below, looking like Marilyn Monroe in blue jeans, I guess, is bought and paid for. Screams artificial, fake, enhanced, trying too hard. And of course, I mean, do I really need to tee you up for talking about Megyn Kelly and what what's real and what's imagined? But meow, thank you, Megyn Kelly, because that's what you're good for.
Well, the one thing she missed is that Beyonce's hair is cultural appropriation.
Sure, blonde in that picture, but yeah, I'm glad we don't have more important things to talk about, like Trump on the roof of the White House. I mean, it was so funny, just the visual. Just to see Trump on the roof of the White House.
Was it a meme, or did he actually say, "Hey, you Secret Service guys can walk it slanted a bit. Can you guys make it?"
Well, I don't know if that actually happened, but he was on the roof. I mean, it's just
he's checking out what he did with the Rose Garden, right?
I believe so, and mapping out plans to build the Waldorf Astoria ballroom, which, by the way, and I've heard the White House is really small. So it's not the worst idea because it was the biggest building at the time. I get all this from the Commentary podcast. This was it was the biggest building when it was built, but now it's relatively small. So they could use a ballroom that can seat 600 people. And I'm one to talk because my wedding reception was in the Gold Coast room. Speaking of gold braid and everything, of the Drake Hotel, right off Lakeshore Drive, 325 of my mother-in-law's closest friends. So I'm not one to talk. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And, where were we? So what do you think of Jim Acosta interviewing a bot, an AI version of a kid who was killed at Parkland? If that isn't creepy, it's unbelievable. I did not watch the interview, but I mean,
it's not like the 24-hour news networks aren't already full of artificial intelligence.
Well, I would say they're considering the viewership of CNN these days. It's somewhat solipsistic anyway. Anything that happens on there, so yeah, you may as well be talking to yourself, and I'm, or some projection of yourself. And I still prefer to talk to myself all the time. Have you ever been caught just talking to yourself by other people? Have you ever been caught?
I never talk to myself. I have been caught. I have been caught singing.
I have been caught in the car when you're at a stoplight, and then you pretend that you were just doing something innocent, like picking your nose.
In the car when I thought I was home alone, stuff like that. Yeah, I have been caught.
That like, what's the song that a Tim Slagle belts out?
Depends.
Okay.
A lot of Neil Diamond.
A lot of Neil Diamond singing the Hanukkah song. Yeah. Cracklin' Rosenberg. Yeah. Do you happen to know?
Do you happen to know what Neil Diamond, a newspaper Neil Diamond read every day?
I don't know.
USA Today.
Yeah. Boy, we are your number one source for Neil Diamond trivia. So we're on a plane once. I think we're flying to Phoenix, and I'm sitting in an aisle seat, and my wife's there, and several of my kids were there, and they caught me not only talking to myself, I was having an argument, and I was gesturing with my hands, and I was gesturing toward the aisle.
Wow.
And they'll never.
You're lucky they didn't land the plane and call the air marshals on.
Exactly. We'd rather that you were having sex in the bathroom right now. This man is talking to himself. Well, yeah, no, and I was gesturing and I was angry. And so I understood. Look, I understand Jim Acosta interviewing a bot. Did you see there's a CBS News tweet I saw that there are chatbots now for older people who are lonely, and they can that there's a companion for them to talk to. Right. So I mean, and Jim Acosta's kind of over the
not
hill
like
too.
That hasn't been going on for quite some time.
Right. Well, right.
It's I get I'm sure you get the friend requests too from the half naked girl. It's I like your profile. Think we could be great friends together.
What I love is when I see a tweet that I've written that I thought, oh, that's really clever. And look, somebody's liked it. And I could just see the little picture of the person who liked it. And I don't recognize the name. It's usually a name like Lotta Phi, something like that. And
I think that's pronounced Thai.
I guess so. And I don't click on to see who she is because I'm sure she has one follower.
Well, some of them are good. Some of them actually they follow each other. So
that's a good idea.
So that they have about 23. But you look at all their followers, and they all look all similar picture in beachwear.
Yeah, it's a little deflating. But anyway, so I don't blame Jim Acosta that much. All right, should we talk about the Bureau of Labor Statistics? She gets fired, but Goldman Sachs and these other Wall Street concerns are still relying on the statistics that come out, even though there's ample evidence that they can be flawed. And even though they're flawed, it doesn't mean that Trump is right about this. And there could be some bad economic news around the corner, in spite of the fact that last week when we had our brilliant discussion of tariffs, you said, it just proves that he knows how to make a deal. Okay. So are we going to move forward from that? Or what do you think of the BLS?
The firing?
Yeah.
You're the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is the very definition of having one job. That's all you have to do. And you can't do it. And you got 3 months to do it.
And somebody was actually asked about that. Well, why? Because it takes them. Well, how often do they issue these?
Quarterly, aren't they? Quarterly, monthly.
Quarterly. I can't. Whatever it is, it takes them. Somebody at the Bureau apparently said it really takes much longer, but there's such a demand to get these that they wind up giving these preliminary findings that have to be revised all the time. So there's pressure to do it, even though it's, not competent.
How many people work for the BLS? Any idea?
Well, that's a good question too.
And what are they doing?
That accurately.
And I guarantee if you ask them how many of those employees are LGBTQA+, they would be able to give you the exact number within 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's important. That's important.
Boys, let me show you a picture of her, and you ask me if she's manipulating the numbers.
Okay, we got to see a picture of the. All right, yeah. Erica L. And this is not. This isn't me getting fooled by another meme. That really is her, right?
That's on NBC News, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you couldn't draw a person that would you predicted.
She is. I mean, she is your stereotypical.
Rachel Maddow glasses, Rachel Maddow haircut. It's a heavy set, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah. So right. So you know that those numbers were skewed. Okay. enough said about that. Um, I did not even look at the story. I saw the tweet because I'm numb to Tucker Carlson now, but he actually had somebody on to say that Timothy McVeigh isn't really what Oklahoma City is all about. Did you even look into this?
Did me? No.
I listened to
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
podcast.
That's what I figured. The reason I figured that happened was because Chris made it the number one item in the second segment for us. So I just knew that it was, and I didn't want to gloss over it. So, Chris, why don't you tell us what really happened with Oklahoma City?
Very interesting stuff that I watched a special on this before, but I did not know that. You know how they said that there was another person in the truck with them or van when he parked the van,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Okay.
a manhunt that went on for like 30 days, and all of a sudden they just dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know they found some guy that ended up getting murdered in prison, say tortured to death supposedly by the FBI, that just was crossing back over the border that looked like the guy but wasn't the guy? I mean, there's some interesting stuff. This woman has researched it for years.
Are we talking about Kenneth Trentadue? Is that
Is
what
that
we're
it?
talking
Is
about?
that it? Yeah. Yes, his brother's the lawyer.
I just wanted to drop the name in that I'm seeing on my screen.
So his brother, and they didn't know that his brother was an attorney, and his brother's been like a dogged attorney, foiling all this information and finding out all these details years and years later. But it was quite
It's
interesting.
interesting. Well, I got to tell you, you haven't piqued my interest. But if Tucker Carlson ever finds DB Cooper, please tell me about it. And then in the line of conspiracies that have to be revisited, the one that I'm putting on the back burner, and this is beyond the back burner, the Tucker Carlson Oklahoma City one. There's this guy on Twitter. He seems totally sane. He's really good. He's a good golfer. He's got some poignant comments. He just believes and says he's got the proof that Jerry Sandusky did not molest those boys at Penn State, and he was framed. And he's like had Bob Costas on to talk about it. Have you heard about this one?
Did he go to Penn State? Because anyone that goes to Penn State defends that just disgustingly.
Okay.
Like revoltingly, and they did no wrong, even though there was a planned cover up and they had to fire the president of the university.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And so I like the guy, and he makes you, Tim, look like a Kiwanis Republican. So anyway.
Well, I've been for the longest time. I've felt that the Oklahoma City bombing was an FBI sting operation that went bad.
That's essentially what she said in this, Tim.
Yeah, no, I totally believe that. It's like it wasn't supposed to go off.
Correct.
It was
because they found transponders that were supposed to stop everything, apparently, in the truck.
Was this concocted by the same guy whose gun went off and actually killed JFK in the limo he was trying to protect?
Oh, no. Oh, no. This is just it goes back to the Chicago 7. The FBI was infiltrated there. The Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping. There were more FBI agents than there were actual perps in that one.
All right.
There's the DNC pipe bomb, January 6th. I mean, that's the way the FBI has been operating for years.
Timothy McVeigh's in the original statement, he says that he's an asset of the FBI, and he thought he was working with them to get other people, and then it changed. He got a new lawyer, and everything changed when he got the new lawyer. That's what they said in the podcast.
Oh my God!
He was helping set up some of the Aryan.
I feel like washing my own mouth out with soap right now. That's how I feel. How dare I? Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And Howard, we love you, Howard. Did you love Howard Stern, Tim Slagle?
Not really. I used to listen to him ages ago, driving to work when he was on W4 in Chicago. Or, I'm sorry, Detroit.
Yeah.
And before he became the star he is today.
I remember right around that time, I was having lunch with Jonathan Brandmeier. I believe it was the Chestnut Street Grill right next to the Hancock. And this is 1984. I was trying to actually make amends with him because they had me sub for him like a day. And I was pretty funny. But it was in his contract that he was, supposed to decide what, I understand all that. So I didn't want to get in bad.
Decide what you're not.
I'm sorry.
You're not being clear.
Sorry, who gets the sub?
I was going to sub for him as the host of the show.
Okay.
And I did.
And his contract said,
he's got, yeah. It's time for, no wonder I never made it to the Stern level. I can't even spit out a coherent sentence here. So but thank you for interrupting there. No. So
what did his contract say?
It's something of the order that, he would get to decide who get substitutes for him.
And it wasn't run by him. It wasn't run by him. It wasn't run by him.
It wasn't run by him. So
okay.
So I had lunch with him, and it was a great lunch, and we were joking around. And he says that he had heard that Stern was willing to come to Chicago at that time for something like $75,000. So I think it was just, and then he didn't take that, and then that's about the time that he really took off. It had to be like in the mid 80s.
So was that when W4 fired him?
No, I don't know where he was at the time. Know that he was. He didn't copy Steve Dahl's act, but he was he said nice things about Steve and was somewhat inspired by Steve, because I think Steve started the shtick, the shock jock stuff before Howard did. I mean,
Steve Dahl was when he moved to Chicago, Howard Stern was brought in to replace him. So
there we go. So yeah. So
the rumor was that Howard would get tapes of Steve sent to him. He would listen to all of Steve's shows. That was the rumor.
Look, and all I know is that I was Steve Dahl's partner for a while, and and I'm probably the best broadcaster up until this time when I couldn't spit out a sentence with you. But up to
here's an interesting story. A buddy of mine, when W4 went country shortly after Howard Stern left, they became they were a classic. It wasn't classic rock then, it was rock, and they went to country. So a buddy of mine got into the record library, and the DJ at the time allowed him to go through it and take all the rock albums, and he got several. He got several albums that Howard Stern had drawn Hitler mustaches on.
Well, that's a collector's item.
Yeah, I would think so.
So the thing about, so I'm listening. I'm listening to my favorite podcast now, other than ours, which is the one that I steal from all the time, the Commentary Podcast with John Podhoretz. They spent like the entire show the other day talking about him because they're so freaking New York centric. Okay, it's all about New York. It's all about the time that Jerry Seinfeld was dating a 17-year-old, and he had to crawl onto Howard's show because Howard was making him look bad. And I'm thinking, yeah, I remember that stuff happening, but there's a whole country out there that doesn't care all that much about it. But okay, give him his due. The guy was losing only, get this, from what I read, he was only losing $10 million a year. So I'm no financial wizard, but what was he making, 100 or 120 million a year? If he takes a cut, apparently he could still theoretically be making a lot of money for the satellite radio, whereas Colbert, obviously couldn't, because he was like losing $40 million a year, and he was only making like 15. So, but far be it from me to try to organize Mel Karmazon's finances. Karmazon.
I actually heard that. That Colbert's 200 writers make around $500,000 a year.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. How many writers does he have?
200.
200 writers. Can you imagine?
How quickly did you get your resume in, Tim, after you heard that?
Well, here's the thing. I'd be really nervous about it, because how long are these contracts for? I mean, how often do you get a joke in? And you're making $500,000 and oh yeah, I got a joke in this month. Uh, right. And the punchline was, you have a drink named Larry, said the grasshopper in the bar. Yeah, okay. Anyway, look, I enjoyed some of Stern's bits. I didn't listen to him that much, but I had listened to him a little bit when I got like a free trial on satellite radio. But before that, when he was back on terrestrial radio, my favorite bit of his, and I may have mentioned this before, was he'd have some poor woman in the studio who wanted to be a playmate for Playboy magazine. And he and his fellow New Yorkers, in their disgusting, sound like squawking geese accents, would sit there and clinically diagnose her and say how much of a nip here she needed, how much of a tuck there. I mean, it squeezed all the lust that anybody ever had out of looking at a Playboy magazine. It served such a satirical purpose, and I think it wasn't all unintentionally. And it was so. You did a great service for prudishness, Howard, because I mean, who could look at a Playboy playmate ever after that? After he's, oh, you know what, honey, all you need really is a quarter, an eighth of an inch off the inner thigh. I just, and it was
kind of a forerunner to Kill Tony, wasn't it?
I'm not familiar.
It's kind of the same thing as that Kill Tony. It's a very popular podcast, and what they do is they have a panel, and then a comic will come out and do like 3 minutes, and then they'll spend like the next 10 minutes mocking the comic.
Oh, okay. Well, that works. That absolutely works.
Kind of the same idea.
Anyway,
I actually here's an interesting story from way back, because I lived on Wells Street for a while, so there was all kinds of stories. Is that apparently a Chicago legend, Del Close, did something very similar. Is that him and a couple Second City alum got together?
Del Close was Second City.
Yeah, they got together and said they were auditioning for a pornographic film, and so they'd invite girls to come in and take off their clothes, and all legit. I mean, they didn't actually touch them, but they would make them simulate stuff.
It's just wonderful, wonderful, imaginative stuff. Here's the thing about Stern. Somebody was saying to me on Twitter, oh, you do anything if you could make $100 million. Yeah, I probably would. But there's something that was so unbelievably boring about what he did. He had more of a regimented lineup, more of an act that was more by the clock than WBBM News Radio 78. He would with 10 with
lesbians on the eights.
Totally. That's what it was. I thought it was breasts on the eights. And you know what? I mean, you could, Proof Brock measured his life with coffee spoons. You could measure your life by Howard Stern's mentioning of breasts, and you try doing it. I mean, you could do it for, a couple of minutes or a couple of days or whatever, but this guy constantly came through like that. I mean,
for 40 years.
Let's go now to Chris Habermill and Traffic Copter number 2. Yes, that we've got some breasts that we're seeing. And he did that. Now, I think that he even got bored with that act. And that's when, of course, just like sportscasters, sports radio guys can't believe that they're talking about these gland cases and, how much guaranteed money they're going to make. You got to go woke. And he went woke so much that that's wonderfully cynical Howard Stern, and I love this as much as I love anything, was bamboozled by Joe Biden. The country recognized what Howard Stern couldn't, that this guy was senile. But Howard Stern dressed up, like he was going to be, in his version, a Joe Pesci made man. He wore a suit and a tie, and he just served up softballs that even a senile man could swat out of the park. Wonderful job. Bravo, Howard Stern.
And ignored the stench of vodka and Gamala.
Everything. Total denial. Yeah.
But that kind of happens, you know. It's when you go to New York or you go to Washington D.C. It's you might go as an everyman, but you get there, and the way I forget who it was. It was some, I think it was a congressman said that I don't know who he was talking about. He said he was a pretty good guy before he got to Washington, but then he got himself a snoot full of marble dust.
Well, I mean, it's animal. Everything is Animal Farm, right? At the end, the pigs are eaten with the farmers.
Yep.
Some people are more equal than others.
Mm.
It's a tale that's told over and over again. And now, welcome Howard Stern to the land of podcasting. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. So we can put a president on the roof of the White House, and I guess we can put a nuclear plant on the moon. What say you? Does that sound like a good idea?
Not really a nuclear plant.
What
It's
would it be?
it's 100 kilowatts. So it's essentially like a Honda generator.
Okay, all right. I was getting excited.
It's not a lot. I mean,
what's the reason? What's the reason for
it? Because I tried to read. They said that other countries are trying to do it.
So we just need to make.
We want to be the first. Yeah, we want to be the first nuclear reactor on the moon. And originally, it was only going to be like a 40 kilowatt nuclear reactor they were going to put there, and then somebody said, no, we gotta go bigger. So the Chinese are putting a 40 kilowatt. We got to put 100 kilowatt.
All
and
right,
like I said, still, it's enough maybe to power 2 houses. I mean, I was
thinking about it. Maybe it powers, a golf cart if Alan Shepard ever wants to play around up there again. It's tough to walk. Although, why can't you walk the course? I mean, it's 1/6 the gravity that we have. You can bounce your way.
You could walk the circumference of the moon, I think, in a week.
It's got to be easy. So I don't understand the raison d'etre for that. But of course, they had to bring, because these 24-hour cable channels don't know what else to do. Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, was brought on one of these shows, and he says, we don't want to colonize the moon because we know what colonialism has done, how bad it has been. And I wish I were
right. That's right. The first ones to go are going to be the indigenous peoples, right, Neil?
The moon men. So,
do you remember the moon men from Bullwinkle, the little green things with the big mustaches?
The metal munching moon mice. Say that 10 times real fast. Oh, you can't get me on Bullwinkle trivia. So here's the thing. I demur Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an expert on everything. Colonialism wasn't really all that bad. It gets a bad rap. If you've ever read Paul Johnson's history of the West, it's first of all, a lot of it was, the British didn't exactly know what they were doing. It's not like they were all that competent. So you could chalk a lot of the bad things up to incompetence, but there were good things as well. I mean, look, in India didn't exactly, they may have shed the British, but they got the parliamentary system, right? So, it's not the worst. It's really bad form to say colonialism is bad. Although, thank goodness, I mean, you got Donald Trump wanting to, did we ever take over Greenland? Did that stall?
Which is a colony of Denmark, I believe.
Right.
And ruled under a king.
Yeah. Speaking of Denmark, saw this CBS News item. The Denmark Zoo was looking for people to donate their small pets so that the large animals could eat their small pets. And, my reaction to that is, whom do we feed the Denmarkians to? That's what I want to know. Unwanted small pets. I mean, that goes right in line with these European countries are into euthanasia. I mean, I can understand that. Euthanasia, decreasing the surplus population. But when you start going after those little animals, Little
If it's
Timmy.
if it's unwanted pets, the lions are going to be, oh no, not cats again. Hey, doesn't anybody want it, unwanted anything else than cats?
I mean, it's like the Dolly Madison thrift shop of red meat.
I
Right.
did a bit.
I
I did a
agree.
bit years ago. Is that I wanted to start a funeral service for the people who really care about the earth, and basically, if you think that the earth is overpopulated, what we'll do is we'll get you a one-way ticket to a country where euthanasia is practiced, and you can help the world by decreasing the population by one, and then when you pass, we will feed your remains to an endangered species of your choice.
Wow. Wow.
So it's really, you can help the earth.
Thank you, Ebenezer Scrooge. Not a Jew. So, all right. So I wasn't getting excited about the Liam Neeson version of Naked Gun that is just come out, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you planning on seeing? I never go to the movies
I
anyway.
I made a decision when I heard it was coming out that if he does that a version of that monologue that he's famous for is it's what I do have is a very set of special talents. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I think you've mentioned this.
Yeah.
But
And I said, yeah, and I said I'm not going to go see it if they do a version of that. And
all right.
I just heard word that yeah, so it's hack. I can't watch it now.
Okay. I was with you. Then I saw they put online this bit where Liam Neeson is being interviewed for a job acting with Ricky Gervais and his crew or whatever. And he comes in and he wants to do comedy, and he deadpans that he wants to do comedy, which of course is exactly what Leslie Nielsen
Right.
in the Naked Gun. But he goes, yeah, I want to do comedy. I want to do parodies. I want to do stand up. I want to, do situation comedies. And he says this all in a dry voice, and they're looking at him incredulously. And he says, I like to come up with lists of things. So here are the list of things I want to do. And he recites the list of comedic enterprises that he wants to get involved with. And he says, I'm very good at coming up with lists because that's how I got the role in Schindler's List. Spielberg liked that I could do lists. And so, I mean, Ricky Gervais says to him, well, wait, you got what does that have to do with anything? And he goes, oh yeah, that's, you draw on your experience. So I drew on my experience of writing lists to be Oscar Schindler. And I got to tell you, I'm not doing the bit justice, but it was pretty damn funny. And he deadpanned his way right through that. So I'm going to give Liam Neeson, excuse me, a chance when it comes to Netflix or whatever, because I've already exhausted the supply of Netflix and Apple Plus golf movies. So I'll give it a shot. Let's see. You don't care about baseball that much. That we're getting a female umpire. Chris, I'm trying to. I think it's coming up or already just happened. A female umpire.
I had a joke when they got the first female ref in football.
Yes,
is that she's not going to call the penalties. She's just going to throw the flag down, and the players are going to have to figure out what they did.
Yeah. So yeah, Jen. What was this say? Is Jen Powell will become the first woman to umpire an MLB game on Saturday for the Marlins and Braves. And it's interesting. I mean, she could be the last straw, because if she's Angel Hernandez, they're going, okay, that we gave men a chance for more than a century. We gave a woman a chance one time. We're going to the electric umpires. And that's because they're on the cusp of that anyway. So she got in under the deadline for that.
Yeah, the technology to do that, it's got to be half a century old. So they're lagging the technology by half a century.
No reason. Well, the NFL is going to have electronic first downs now, I guess. I mean, they were doing this. I mean, they actually had what was called a chain gang, which has to be, some kind of derisive term. I mean, it stems from prison, for crying out loud.
I don't know. It always looked kind of medieval to me when
Well,
they
yeah, well-
when they pull that chain out. It looked
Right,
kind of looked like
right.
something you'd see at a jousting tournament.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why don't they just have trial by combat to determine whether there's a first down or not? Chris had written this down. I don't even know that I had asked for this, but Chris, you mentioned the Kyle Tucker Fund. Is there some GoFundMe page to get a $500 million for Kyle Tucker, who hasn't hit in the last month for the Cubs? What's going on?
Well, you sent me something about it, but then you didn't include it in the rundown, so I just tagged it on in case you wanted to talk about it. In case we ran out of stuff, but we didn't run out of stuff. And I don't care about the Cubs. You don't care about the Cubs.
All
Really
right,
doesn't
there we
care
go.
about the Cubs.
And I think Pete Crow Armstrong, last I saw, was being reduced just to the hyphen in his name. I mean, he
He doesn't
wasn't
have the
hitting
hyphen,
either.
does he? I think he goes no hyphen.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, wow.
I thought he goes no hyphen.
I'm not sure if he goes no hyphen or not. My old joke was, and that, since we're doing old jokes, is that women, especially at the height of women hyphenating their names, I don't think it happens as much as it used to, that they should, on their birth certificates, they should just have a hyphen at the end, just be, a coupling there for like a railroad car. And I sent that, mentioned that joke to Kevin Williamson in an email to him once, the great writer Kevin Williamson, and he emailed me back and said, the bride on her wedding night had her hyphen intact. So
Wow.
Good
Wow.
one.
He took it
Yeah.
up. He took it up a notch.
oh yeah, no, that's why he's a guy who's qualified to get fired by the Atlantic.
Mine-
Wrong,
Goes
he
on
does
to
have
the
a
job.
hyphen.
I'm sorry.
He does have a hyphen. If he didn't have a hyphen, he could make himself like a Native American, and Crow could be like his
Sure,
first name.
there is a hyphen, so we got that. We got that.
We had
So-
I had a family umlaut that got lost during World War II.
one of the casualties of
one of the casualties
big
was the
war.
Schlegel umlaut.
the umlaut. Was that because they didn't want to look European anymore, or
Exactly. Exactly. 'Cause
really?
you didn't want to be fighting for the Allies with a name like Schlegel.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Understood that. Yeah. Well, we learn more about next week. Maybe we'll do a whole thing on semicolons. It's a good idea. All right.
I haven't had that operation yet, so mine is fully intact.
Yeah. If you get a colostomy bag, sometimes they can reverse that, later on, get a little medical right here. All right. This is a good way to peter out towards the end. Appreciate it. All right. You go back to JB Pritzker's bathroom in the background, and we'll reconvene next time. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.